I'm about to take you on my crazy and epic process of my 2-year development on my first indie game. Hey, I'm Peak Pineapple and I've been working on a 2D hide and seek strategy multiplayer game with cute chameleons. This is going to be a video about me explaining how I went from this to this. Holy crap, those are some pretty big improvements.
March 3rd, 2021.
It all started with a dream. Well, not exactly. It actually stemmed from my overactive mind not helping me be able to sleep at night. I wanted to create a game for kids, but also make a game for adults to play as well. After playing so many games and studying many others, I realized games with animals did very well. And that's when I came to the conclusion that chameleons were great animals at playing hide and seek. So while the idea was still fresh in my mind, I hopped out of bed, hopped on my computer and opened up Milanote and started planning my game out. So that first month was actually pretty invigorating and I got a lot done. The sketch of the player actually looks like this, which is pretty bad, but it's just a sketch. Since the game is hide and seek, I needed to know when the match started and when the match ended, so I decided to add a timer. The next thing I knew that I was missing was actually hiding spots, so I just decided to add some different multicolored grass. Okay, cool, great. You can hide and now you can know when the match ends and starts, but there needs to be a reason for you to actually leave your hiding spot. And that's when I decided to do a little bit of digging and research on chameleons, and I realized that they did eat fruit. Melons specifically, so I just added that to the game. It's not the obvious choice, but it kind of sort of works. I don't know if this was a good choice, but I think my future self can agree that adding predators to the game made it much more fun. If you didn't know, chameleons' biggest predator are birds. And because the first map that I was doing in the game was the rainforest, I decided to add a toucan. Toucans actually made the game much more fun and they could actually knock you out to boost the difficulty of the game. I felt like I had to add something even more special to my game, so I thought giving the chameleons certain abilities would improve it. Well, it definitely did, just not in the way that I thought it would. And that entire thing about the melon with the fruit, yeah, so for some reason I decided to add the ability to steal the fruit from other players, and that would be the main reason that you needed to leave your hiding spot. At some point I knew I was going to have to add multiplayer, so I decided to just go ahead and make some AI players so that way I could actually test myself going against them. But the thing is, the AI has to be incredibly smart and make very tactical decisions. So with a little help from the nav mesh component, I was actually able to make other players so that way I wouldn't just be playing by my lonesome. And thus we enter the next phase. It was time for me to kick it up a notch and start improving my art skills. So by looking at other games, TV shows and stuff like that, I was able to get lots of inspiration and actually find a solid artwork for me. This led me down the path of a better looking version of the chameleon player. Better, but not quite right. And it didn't feel right that I didn't add insects to my game, so I decided to add a mosquito. He's pretty cute, but watch what happens. Yeah, for some reason we decide to eat him now. Rest in peace, Mike the Mosquito.
July 14th, 2021. I had finally uploaded my first demo of the indie game that I've been working on for months. It was actually looking pretty damn good, but on the inside it still felt like I was missing something. I actually got a few people to play my game, some family, friends, and some other indie game developers. They actually gave me a lot of positive feedback and it helped me to realize what I needed to change and what I needed to tweak. The first issue was my game felt way too much like football. I mean, you're constantly stealing the fruit back and forth from other players. It really wasn't hitting the core mechanic that I was aiming for, which was hide and seek. So I had to sit back, reevaluate, and make better decisions. So to get my mind off of it, I decided to work on the desert map and a new Madagascar map, thus adding 2 new predators to the game, a vulture and a hawk. These natural disasters, which I used as blockers in the game, were pretty damn amazing, and in future me feels like I should have kept this in the game, but you'll see why I didn't. From December 2021 all the way to February 2022 is when shit literally hit the fan. All hell was breaking loose, and there was nothing I could do to stop it. I started working on a horrible backstory that did not even fit the game. To sum it all up, it was basically about a chameleon king commanding his servants to go off, conquer, collect, and retrieve desired goods for the chameleon kingdom. Oh no, don't get me wrong, it was a good idea, just poorly implemented because sooner or later I saw my game being a clone of Among Us. If I did mention it before, Among Us was definitely one of the inspirations of making this game, but not the main reason. The goal was to make a hide and seek game, not a killer whatever the hell I thought I was making. Before I even knew it, I had started using their killing, ghost death, completing tasks. This was no bueno. I wanted the game to be completely original and not some cheap knockoff. I even remember at one point losing some motivation to even work on the game because I feared no one would play it because I just thought it was a cheap knockoff of Among Us. So what I decided to do was take a short break, which was very much needed, and work on something totally different. I took that opportunity to actually work on my side project for a few months. I won't go into all the details, but here's a video about it and you can check it out right here. September 2022. That break from working on my game was actually just the thing I needed to actually get back into gear and start working on releasing my first indie game. I felt like I had to start from scratch, but I knew I couldn't just up and just trash the entire project. So what I did was remove about half of the features so that I was left with the main mechanics that made WeHidden great. So I focused on the hiding, seeking, the abilities, burrowing from room to room, and a reason to actually leave your hiding spot. And that's when something amazing happened. I remembered that there's different ways to play hide and seek. There's the basic version that everybody knows of, there's home base, there's jailbreak, and there's manhunt. I've never seen any game that had all these different hide and seek modes that were this intricate. I could tell when I was on to something really big because after I posted my 16th devlog, it sort of kind of blew up. Well, at least by my standards it did, because I only have around 300 or so subscribers. But the point was, people were actually very excited and they were engaged in the game that I was making. I started working on the home base mode where you had to go to the center of the map and go tap the statue before the timer runs out. Then I started working on the jailbreak where you can actually be locked up in a jail cell and there's a mini game you can play so that way you can use a saw to cut yourself free from out of the cage. Towards the end of 2022, I actually started working on a new autumn map which looks completely amazeballs, and I also created a second ability called chroma copy which lets you copy any other color chameleon in the game. And for the autumn map, I decided to add a roly-poly insect called Jeff and a new predator called the tip bird or whatever. Well, you get the point. And I also found out that 2D ringing animation really brought my game to life. I mean, just look at these wheat, pine trees, and these cool sunflowers. I knew I wanted to make a map for each different season, so I actually decided to make a winter map as well. And with each map I make a insect and a new bird, so I decided to go with Bartholomew II, a cool beetle, and a snowy owl, which if you ask me looks pretty damn dope. Currently I'm in the process of working on the last ability called Magnify, which actually helps you locate and see another player from in a different room, which is actually really cool. And now we're pretty much up to date. It is March 2023 and I'm currently working on the new lobby, which I'm trying to implement a little bit of Greek mythology in. And I'm still trying to figure out exactly what I should do when a player hides. Yeah, I have this cool camera zoom in, but it's still missing something. I'm thinking of some type of mini game, but if you do have any ideas, it's still in workshop, so please leave a comment down below. So, what did I actually learn from my 2 years of development working on this game? Well, the first thing I realized is making games is extremely hard. You've got to be prepared to put in the work, sweat, effort, tears, and blood, all that good stuff. The second thing is, don't overestimate yourself and how much you can do within a certain time frame. I told myself, nah, I can do this in 2 to 3 months. And look what happened. It's been 2 years now. And the most important thing that I learned was always, and I mean always, plan out every detail of your game, or you could end up spending way too much time developing your game and never actually release your game to the public. And with that being said, I'd like to say happy 2-year anniversary of developing WeHidden. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys next time.